Hello and welcome back to Adam's Deep Dives. We are now on to week 3 and the final week of the Marmozets deep dive. The new album came out earlier this year in May, I believe it was. To be exact, the 22nd of May. So this was the first album the band have had out in 8 years, which is absolutely crazy to think. I mean, I remember when the first album came out and how much I loved it, and the same when they released the second album. If you haven't already seen them, it's the Weird and Wonderful Marmozets and Knowing What You Know Now, and I'll put links to them below, or put links at the end or whatever, so you can check those out as well, as I recommend doing that before watching this one, obviously. So today we're going to deep dive into the incredible comeback album, CO.WAR.DICE. CO.WAR.DICE. After 8 years away, plenty has changed for the band. This time they've returned as a 4-piece, with Will, the bass player, leaving to pursue other musical projects. Life has taken them in new directions, so Becca and Jack welcomed a baby into the world back in 2019, and then they got married in 2022. So fans were left wondering if they were able to still capture that unique spark that made them one of the most exciting alternative rock bands in the UK. And the answer is a simple yes. So in this deep dive, we'll be going through every single track, uncovering the stories behind the songs, exploring the lyrics, musicianship, production, all the little details that make this album such a fascinating listen. And we'll also look at how the record compares to the band's previous releases, and whether it was worth the 8 years wait. So as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts too, so let me know in the comments favourite songs, least favourite songs, which is your favourite Marmozets album. Also, if you were lucky enough to actually catch them on the tour for this album, I unfortunately wasn't. I wanted to see them, but they didn't tour anywhere further north than Sheffield, so unfortunately I wasn't able to make it to any of the gigs. They're one of my bucket list bands. I really want to watch them live. I'm promising myself I will eventually, but it's just not happened yet. So grab yourself a drink and some snacky snacks and get comfortable, and let's take a deep dive into CO.WAR.DICE, the next chapter in the ever-evolving story of Marmozets. Right, opening with track 1, of course. This was the comeback single, so it really sets the tone for the record as well. Like the whole album gets such a bright, chaotic start with this. So from the start, it sort of introduces themes of courage, resistance, and standing up against injustice and things. And it's probably, I'd say, the most eccentric and unnerving song they've written since Vibertech. So it's got you constantly on edge, wondering where the song's going from one second to the next. Obviously, it instantly feels different. Makes you feel like Clint Eastwood's going to walk on at any minute. And there we go. Yeah, there's the chaos we're used to. Definitely closer to the first album sort of vibe than Knowing What You Know Now. Yes, absolutely frenetic and chaotic. Definitely one of those I had to look up the lyrics for, because I not a clue what she was singing about. Despite its gentle title, it's not actually a sentimental song, this. Instead, the idea of the mother's kiss it represents like protection and strength and the instinct to defend the people that you love. It's not just about, you know, a mother's kiss, which you kind of expect from her becoming a fairly new mum as such. But during the album's production, like Becca spoke about her frustration with world events and leaders making life-changing decisions, which they do, but they remain completely detached from the circumstances. So the anger fuels both the song and the album. So the title itself, the play on cowardice, and the idea of rolling the dice with people's lives. So, you know, having the words war and dice in the title, it's quite a clever play on words. But yeah, musically, like, it's bizarre because it opens with this like western-like atmosphere and then bursts into these heavy riffs and Becca's powerful vocals. And the contrast between the tense verses and explosive choruses mirrors the song's message of frustration. So it makes it really defiant. Yeah, working out the lyrics are as challenging as the song itself is. Like, I can't hear a word of what she's saying there. But as an opener, it's like the perfect introduction to the album. It establishes like the record's political and emotional themes, and it showcases Marmozets at the most intense. So yeah, it's not just the first track of an album, it's a statement of intent for everything that follows. Yeah, absolutely mental opener. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, wow, that's even more chaotic than their old stuff. Like, I expected them to have calmed down a bit over the years, but that proves that they clearly haven't done. Right, on to the second track, New York. This was also a single. So Jack has said about this that the band wanted the song to evoke the energy of 1970s New York and the CBGB scene. So it explains like the new wave and punk influences coming through. So compared to their normal, heavier material, this is a little bit different. It feels almost lighter in tone. The meaning behind the song is quite dark in itself. Yeah, quite a catchy second song this. So this sort of broadens the album's themes a bit by showing that, well, courage isn't just about confronting the world around you, it's about confronting yourself, I guess. So following the statement of the first song, this feels like it's the first glimpse of hope, because it's quite a downbeat first song, but then this proves that even after hardship there's always an opportunity to start again. And the lyrics like look back at the band's first visit to the city, like over a decade ago, which I presume was when they were touring the first album. So they travelled from the hometown in Bingley to secure the first US record deal. And for some members it was like the first time that they've ever even left the UK, so a bit of a coming of age story as well. So yeah, it shifts the more broad political frustration of the first song to something a bit more personal, and it's sort of about finding clarity after a difficult period and learning to let go of things and just basically realise that if things are no longer serving you, just get rid of them. I think New York itself, it represents more of a state of mind, not to use a certain other person's song title, but rather than the physical place. So it's about reaching a point where you can leave behind your negativity and embrace the change and moving forward with confidence. After the long hiatus that the band have had, it sort of reflects both their personal growth and a renewed sense of purpose as well. It's definitely one of the more melodic songs on the album. It balances Becca's usual soaring vocal hooks and heavy riffs and unpredictable rhythms that we're known for, but it's still got that plenty of intensity, but there's also an uplifting quality to it, and like I say, it's a bit more like that new wave funky sort of style. Yeah, very good second song, as I would expect. It follows on nicely from Kiss from a Mother. It broadens the spectrum of what the album's about, but still retains a similar feeling in terms of the music itself. On to track 3, Cut Back, yet another single. So this is where the album goes back to being more direct and confrontational than the last song. It's quite a sharp one, this. It's about recognising toxic patterns, and whether it's in relationships or society or even in yourself, and just making the decision to strip things back when they consume you. So again, using that whole sort of thing of letting things go that no longer help you, but also realising that things that are bad for you, you need to get rid of them as well. Super bouncy. Yeah, definitely one of the punchiest tracks on the album list. Riffs are like so sharp and aggressive. The drums and bass, like they drive it forward relentlessly as well. And Becca's vocals, like, so good on this, because they swing between like the melodic hooks and the explosive bursts of intensity, which she does so well. But it's like she's learning new things now. In this 8 years, she's like learned to capture that even better than ever. So yeah, it captures that feeling as well of like being pushed to your limit and finally snapping. So yeah, it works as a natural progression from the 2 opening songs, really. So it brings reflection and renewal from New York and the defiance from A Kiss from a Mother, and then turns that renewed confidence into an action. It's about protecting your energy and cutting away what holds you back and refusing to let fear or pressure dictate your life. Got like this real sense of frustration in the song as well. And I think rather than it, because of the subject matter, but it like there's so much energy in how she says like cut back. But rather than accepting the constant pressure and negativity of like things going on around you, it sort of pushes back against that idea, and that you have to keep going more for yourself than anyone else. But you've got to basically just keep going and get rid of anything that's negative in your life. So it reflects the act of like drawing boundaries and refusing to be drained by others. You have to carry on and you have to be your own person. So catchy though. Yeah, it's no wonder that was a single. It's really catchy. Just has all the right elements, I think, for as radio friendly as Marmozets can get. Definitely a good choice for a single. Time to begin my snacky snacks. Big bowl of chicken wings, salt and pepper chicken wings to be exact. These are from a company based down in Bury called bestmeatuk, UK, and they do loads of different things. They're absolutely fantastic. The sausages are top drawer. I've had like ribs, I've had wings, I've had kebabs, I've had chicken portions, drumsticks, loads of stuff from them. Every single thing I've had has been superb. So looking forward to trying these. Track number 4 is Swear I'm Alive. So fourth song provides like an important emotional checkpoint on the album, because we had like 3 really either chaotic or aggressive or bouncy songs in a row. It's a little bit more of an introspective song. So after the anger and defiance of the opening tracks, it reminds us sometimes that courage itself isn't always loud and outspoken, and it can sometimes just mean making it through another day. It's a bit more quiet and introspective song, we'll say. So it basically asks the question of how do you keep going when the battle's inside your own head? You know, like when you've no control over the outside world where there's battles going on. But when it's in your own head, you feel like you should be able to control it a bit more, but sometimes that's not the case. Yeah, it's one of the album's most heartfelt songs, I'd say. And a reminder that sometimes simply surviving is an act of courage in itself. It's not all about big, heighty, magnificent, flamboyant choices, and you don't always have to be doing grandiose gestures to actually, be doing something courageous. We've all had to sort of fight through anxiety and self-doubt and emotional exhaustion, and reaching a point where you just feel like you've had enough, but despite everything, you're still able to say, I'm still here, I'm still alive. It captures that feeling of being completely overwhelmed, but refusing to give in, and like rather than pretending everything's fine, someone acknowledges how difficult life can be while finding strength in simply surviving, and knowing that sometimes it's okay not to be okay. So it's an anthem of resilience, really, and celebrating the determination to keep moving forward, even if every step does feel like a struggle. But musically, it's a much more restrained atmosphere than the usual stuff. I mean, it builds to this big emotional soaring chorus, but Becca's vocal performance is quite striking because it sounds quite different to how she normally sings. She always does this effortless thing from quiet reflection to raw intensity, but it just feels a bit more mature in this, I think, than how she normally does it. Even if it's one of the quieter songs, though, it still goes pretty hard. The drums and bass in particular are still really pounding and bumping and propelling the song along. Yeah, it's no slouch still. Nice to have something a bit different there on the album. It definitely feels like a bit of a turning point. That sounds like it's possibly their most mature song to date. It's very different from their other stuff while still maintaining their signature feel. Yeah, you can tell that a lot of work's gone into that song. Okay, track 5. This is called Running with the Sun in Your Eyes, and this was another single. I do love the story behind this one, actually. Becca's explained that the song came from a completely spontaneous Friday night jam with Jack, where the two were at home sharing food and wine and listening to records and just enjoying the atmosphere that they found themselves in. And rather than writing with a specific message in mind, they captured the feeling of that evening, making it one of the album's most uplifting and natural songs. So I think that's a nice little backstory to how the song came about. No sort of ulterior motives in mind for the song, it just happened naturally. Yeah, it's basically just a celebration of love and living in the moment and appreciating the simple joy of being with someone that you care about. This, it's a nice uplifting track. Very danceable and like really groove driven as well. But yeah, apparently we were listening quite a lot of like Cramps and Devo at the time. I guess that gives it that sort of 70s and early 80s feel because of that. So they were essentially taking inspiration from a lot of the same sort of songs that they were for New York as well. But you can definitely hear that like punk and new wave influence and the swagger of the guitars and the infectious drums and bass sound. And I know when it came out and I read some of the reviews, critics were actually comparing it to a more recent band, actually, Death from Above 1979, which I guess I can see in a way, but I can't imagine that would have been an influence on it, to be honest. Just a nice little burst of optimism in the middle of the album that I like. Got a lovely groove to it, this song. It's just a bit different from the normal stuff. It still retains their sound. You know, you can still obviously tell it's them, but it's just got something about it that's that little bit different that makes it interesting. Track 6, this is Dandy. It's a bit more humorous than the usual stuff. So Becca's actually said in an interview that she wanted the album to feel like it was an honest reflection of life, and that meant including moments of humour alongside the heavier themes. So despite it obviously having a very deep meaning behind the album, they didn't want it to just all be chaos and darkness. They wanted the humour to shine through. So Dandy's a great example of the balance, because it shows the band's personality as much as it does the songwriting and the musicianship in this. So it's a really fun song. Yeah, it's quite a tongue-in-cheek song, this, and sort of injects a dose of humour and swagger into it, and sort of takes aim at people that are all style and no substance, and sort of seen through their arrogance and superficiality and inflated egos, and sort of refusing to be impressed by appearances alone, and anyone that's particularly shallow, it's just like, yeah, not giving them the time of day. So rather than being angry about it though, it sort of feels playful and sarcastic about them. So Becca's lyrics in particular, there's like a sharp wit to them, poking fun at them, you know, those that sort of crave attention and hide behind like a crafted image, you know, like something that you know full well isn't real. So it's a reminder that confidence is earned through authenticity, not by putting on a performance and showcasing who you are. It's always nice to hear him doing an acoustic song though. It's definitely got a really nice groove to it. It's plenty of attitude in it despite it being an acoustic song. Even though it's acoustic, it's got an almost danceable sort of energy to it. Like you could definitely feel like putting this on at a wedding, for example. It definitely stands out from the heavier songs on each side of it because of it being acoustic. I think Becca's vocal delivery as well on this is really nice. It's different from her usual style. So again, I think this is to do with her maturing over the 8 years between albums. It sort of shifts between the cheeky conversational lines and the confidence of the chorus. Just a lovely breath of fresh air in the middle of the album.
The brightest day you'll see. Your dad said anyway. I'm just happy you're okay. I'm just happy you're okay. Dandy.
Yeah, lovely little breath of fresh air. Well, not that the song before it was particularly heavy, but, you know, you've had like 4 or 5 really either heavy or chaotic or bouncy songs in a row. And I think that's just like a nice little breather before the rest of the album comes in. From what I can remember, I don't think there's another particularly quiet song on the album. So that definitely is there as your resting point as such. On to track 7, but before I do, I just want to take this opportunity to show off my lovely, lovely vinyl of the album, signed by the whole band, of course. It is a thing of beauty, and I love it very, very much. Thank you. Right, on to track 7. This is Like Last Night. So this is one of the most uplifting songs on the album, because it's about love and commitment and the reality of a long-term relationship. Rather than focusing on grand romantic gestures, it just celebrates the everyday choices when you're together and going through life's highs and lows together and just the things that keep you together. Yeah, apparently Becca wrote lyrics of this. It is about her and Jack. So it is a love song. It's a nice little love song that she's written. So it's about the forever dynamic of always giving your best to one another and how doing that continues to lead to new and, you know, different discoveries for each other, and knowing that you don't have to constantly parading each other with grand gestures. It's just all about the small things and being there for each other. Definitely one of the most energetic and melodic tracks of the album. It's got a bit of a Yeah Yeah Yeahs vibe to it for me, this. It has actually been compared to the Strokes, but yeah, I could definitely hear more Yeah Yeah Yeahs in that. Yeah, the guitars are very bright and punchy, and the chorus is well, it's just so full of optimism and momentum, and it's really infectious, almost party-like in its energy. I think as well, because it's like, it's at the halfway point as such of the album, you know, like Dandy was your track 6, and then this sort of introduces you to the second half, and it's like, it's a reminder that resilience isn't only about facing hardship, it's also about holding on to the people that help you through it. So it's all in all, it's just a very upbeat, positive song that like kicks off the second half of the album really nicely. And I just love how personal it is, you know, it's literally a love song about two people in the band together. Yeah, I think if there's going to be any more singles off the album, I think this will be one. Just so catchy and radio friendly. These wings. Oh. So damn good. I can't stop eating them. I thought I'll probably have about half of them and then have the rest later, but I just can't stop. 20 in a pack. I think I'm about halfway through now, but there's no way these are getting left. They're so good. Fact number 8. In my best French accent.
Mes Desirs.
Which I believe simply means my desires. I don't speak French, but that's a pretty easy one, I think. And this song sort of explains the tension between who we are, who we want to be, and the expectations placed upon us. Those expectations are from other people or from ourselves. So kind of about learning to trust your own instincts instead of constantly trying to live up to someone else's idea of what you should be and what their idea of a success is. Voice is so good on this song. A lot of the rest of the album is about fighting back against the world. Bad things are happening obviously everywhere all the time, and you're like fighting against them. This makes it feel more like self-acceptance, realising that you can't change all that, but also suggesting that real freedom comes from understanding what truly matters to you and having the courage to pursue it. So even if it means taking a different path, but sort of concentrating on that rather than concentrating on the wider world's events, because you can have no effect on that whatsoever. Just let that be and just concentrate on your life and what makes you happy. Yeah, the guitars in this like very different from their normal style. They're quite driven but also spacious as well at the same time. They're not as full on as normal. And it really lets Becca's vocals take centre stage, which I love about it. It's one of her best vocal performances, I think this. It's like delicate and powerful at the same time, and it gives the song an emotional depth that makes it one of its standout moments for me. It sort of feels like a bit of a turning point on the album. So after confronting like fear, frustration, self-doubt, and the wide world, it sort of offers a sense of peace and clarity, as though the dust has finally settled and you're sort of realising, well, I can't do anything about all that, let's concentrate on me instead. Like other parts of the album, it follows the theme of choosing courage over fear, but in like a much quieter and more reflective way. It sort of feels a bit more grounded now at this point on the album. And there's that trademark wail of hers. Wow. Yeah, what a way to end a song. Wow. I mean, that's back to that original sort of sound that she used to have on the first album, but to the nth degree. I don't think I've ever heard her being able to do that for that long before. Superb. Track 9, You Want the Truth. And this was another single. I can't remember, I think this was the second single. I'd get mixed up if that or New York was the second single, but I think this was. The shortest song on the album, and it's the closest out of anything on it, I'd say, to the debut album. So it's got that really chaotic vibe to it. One of the things I find interesting about this is that Becca has actually openly confirmed exactly who this is aimed at. She sort of described it as, let me just read this now because I want to make sure I get this quote right. Making fun of all the irrational fear out there on social media. So particularly conspiracy influencers who build audiences by convincing people that they are the only source of the truth. It's the whole idea of taking the piss out of misinformation, conspiracy culture, and that growing divide created by people that live in completely different versions of reality online.
You want the truth? So where's your truth? Give us the truth, we're waiting on you. Please see this through, don't read the news. Not bulletproof, we're waiting on you. I see right through your work, you're dead. Stolen dead. I'm stopping on the...
And again, like Dandy, apparently this is quite tongue-in-cheek anyways. Rather than using anger, they're using that tongue-in-cheek sort of vibe instead. Essentially it's a satire. So yeah, the idea of people that like, they claim to have the truth, but they reject any information that doesn't fit with their beliefs. So it's about those people that like spend all the time online, that are like warning everyone not to, sort of pointing to bizarre conspiracy theories, and like they even had it themselves when they were making this album. Apparently, like people were starting these theories about it that were just, you have no idea where they were coming from. But rather than preaching, it sort of uses humour and sarcasm to expose how absurd the mindset has become and how easy it is as well for it to happen. But yeah, it definitely feels like a throwback to their earlier stuff because it's fast and chaotic and relentlessly energetic. There's the jagged riffs and the stop-start rhythms, the biting vocal delivery that she used to use a lot. Even that guitar sound, actually. And yeah, if you've been a fan from the start, then This sort of captures that sound of things like Born Young and Free and Why Do You Hate Me and Move Shake Hide and things like that. So it's got that controlled chaos that they used to have in the first album. It still benefits from the tighter songwriting that they've developed over the years though, so it's got that more modern approach to the songwriting still. It's fast, it's sarcastic, it's unapologetic, and just proves that they haven't lost the bite at all. They've just found a sharper target. Because it comes like near the end of the album, there's only like 2 tracks left. It feels like a last final burst of defiance. The closing tracks are a little bit more introspective. I keep using that word, but they sort of feel a bit less aggressive than things like that last song did. But it's just a reminder that in a world full of noise and division, that critical thinking and compassion matter far more than whoever shouts the loudest. Anyone can have an opinion and anyone can create something online, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to listen to it, because God knows what's real and what isn't these days. I'm down to my last 2. So yeah, they're not getting saved, are they? Not till later. They are some of the best chicken wings I've ever had. I would literally eat them every day if I could. They are so good. So yeah, Best Meat UK. They live up to the name. They're absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be ordering more from them soon, but wow. Everything I've had from them has been at least a 9 out of 10. More often than not a 10 out of 10. So good. Right, we're on to the penultimate song. It's track 10, Flowerz with a Z. So this is one of the more dynamic songs on the album. It feels like after the last song, calm after the storm. It's not like a totally quiet song, but it sort of constantly shifts between moments of vulnerability and bursts of intensity. So it's after the storm, but then there's those little ripples of the thunder that's still occurring, which sort of gives it this real sense of push and pull. But by this point on the album, you know, all the aggression and everything feels like it's out. So by this point, things have softened a bit, and this song captures that change really nicely, I think. Melodies on this are so good. Because flowers are quite often used as symbols of resilience and renewal, it fits perfectly with the journey of this album. So after confronting like the fear and the doubt and division and things like that throughout the record, like the Flowerz suggest that the healing isn't instant. It needs to be nurtured and watered, and it needs to grow. So it takes time and patience and the right environment to flourish. By being with someone that you love, or by being in the right environment, that sort of helps you to grow as a person. So different from anything else the band have ever done this. Just shows how much they've evolved as a band. This though, it's such a good song. This is where you can feel that they've really learned to use contrast to create impact. Like the delicate passages give way to like huge walls of sound and then pull back again, and they allow the vocals to move effortlessly between tenderness and raw power. And it's just a reminder that the band don't need to be full throttle at all times to make an impact. It's so good, yeah. And it works as well because it's placed just before the closing track. It sort of feels like a final step before acceptance, so it kind of prepares the listener for the album's hopeful conclusion. So the last song's like so uplifting and so upbeat, but it shows that the strength can come through healing just as much as defiance. Literally learning to be comfortable around each other, settling for living a life that you love, and just not letting the wider world take control of who you are. Becca's apparently spoken about nature, like how she feels it's like a natural source of healing and perspective. With sort of recurring references to sunlight and beaches and the natural world appearing throughout the album. It almost feels like it's come to a head with this song, like all those references throughout lead up to Flowerz. Not in a particularly like meaningful way or anything, but it just sort of feels like there's a little bit of a thread there throughout the album. It feels like a natural bridge between the confrontational first half of the album and then the optimistic ending that it's building up to, and that the flowers, nature and the sunshine and everything, they're there at the start of the album, but they're flourishing now near the end of the album once you've actually got to the positive side of things. Right, on to the final track. This is called Keep Going, Darling. Becca has described the actual title as a bit of a mantra for herself. So after like the band's long hiatus and becoming a mother and navigating years of uncertainty, anyone that doesn't know, she had some quite serious surgery and problems with hypermobility. The Keep Going Darling mantra. So rather than pretending life gets easier, the song's basically about knowing that struggles will always come, but it just reminds us that perseverance is its own kind of victory, and it's the only way to get through is just to keep going. Love how dirty the bass sounds on this song. It's a nice uplifting finale though, this. Rather than ending the album with aggression, they've sort of chosen to almost reward the listener with a song that feels big and it feels exciting. It's about courage and hope and growth, which, you know, is the best that you could want from a final statement of an album. They've kind of done this over the last 3 albums. With Weird and Wonderful Marmozets, they had like Back to You, which ended on an emotional high. So that sort of traded the chaos of that album for vulnerability. And then on Knowing What You Know Now, Run With The Rhythm was like an uplifting, vibrant, pulsating song about just going with the flow and just let things go and just carry on. It continues that tradition of like an uplifting final song. It feels like a natural conclusion to that journey as such. These albums were a trilogy. This definitely feels like a closer. Because it's all about perseverance and the voice of someone that's lived through experience and has every right to be able to tell you about that. Continue to move on one step at a time, no matter how hard it is at sometimes. But it's just such a satisfying emotional payoff to the album, and it ties a lot of the themes together as well from like earlier songs right back to like the first track, History and Other. There's similar themes that show up in this song. It's nice that they tie everything together. and gives this big, epic, beautifully upbeat last song. Yeah, they're definitely a band that knows how to do a good last song on the album, I'll give them that. Certain bands sometimes disappoint me with last songs, but these never do. And I think this is up there with their best songs yet. This build now is just incredible. It's so good. I want to hear this song live so badly. Yeah, I certainly don't think anyone expected a 7.5 minute epic closer to a Marmozets album when they were coming back with this record. Just ends the album beautifully though, it's such a good song, right? And I'll use this while this is going on to talk about the artwork, because yet again, not really much to say about it. They're not a band that really seems to, well, not that they don't care about their artwork, but they don't go for the whole deeper meaning thing, do they, like a lot of bands do. It's, again, just a picture of the band, blurred, like the second album, but even more blurred this time. But it's black and red, which are my two favourite colours, so it gets points for that. Again, doesn't have the band name on it. So that's 2 albums in a row they've done without actually having Marmozets on the cover. Doesn't even have the album title. Very brave decision that, especially for a comeback album. There's not much else to say about it, is there really? So, that's all 3 albums by the Marmozets finished. So, next week we'll be on to a new artist again. That seems to have come around very quickly. I'll be doing a rundown of the Marmozets album, which I'll put up on Monday. That will then say what my favourite albums are by them. Hopefully you'll tune in for that, and obviously next Friday for the new artist when I reveal it. I'd just like to say thank you again for liking, subscribing, following, passing the word on, whatever you lovely people have done. And until then, check out my Nothing But Thieves ones if you haven't already. Until next time, hola, goodbye!